What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chatbox. The new mystery chip has been revealed and it's been called the Assistant Manager chip in FPL. So, what is it and how do you play it? All of this I'm going to be explaining in this video. So, let's get started first with the what is it. So, it's basically available from Game Week 24 where you can select a manager for 3 game weeks, and during those 3 game weeks, you can't play any other chips. So no triple captain, no bench boost, no wildcard even during those 3 game weeks, no free hit. You can't play any of those chips during those 3 game weeks that the assistant manager chip is active. You can play this during a double game week where a team would have an extra fixture. So instead of getting 3 games, you will get 4 games with this chip. But again, keep in mind, you can't play another chip. That means in the double game week, the managers will cost between 0.5 million to 1.5 million. We don't know their pricing just yet, but that's what the cost is going to be. And you're not going to have any extra budget given by FPL. So you have to use your existing budget to try and get these managers. Also, the managers won't change in price. So there's not going to be any price rises like how you see with players. And the manager counts as part of the 3-player limit. And you can also use a free transfer to swap managers in the 3 game weeks. So the initial time you play the chip, you won't have to use a transfer. You get the manager that you want to pick for free. But if you wanted to switch the manager, let's say you picked a manager in game week 24, and in game week 25 you wanted to swap to a different manager, then you will have to use one of your free transfers that you have to be able to swap to a different manager. So that is basically it, the basic what is the chip. Let's get into how you get points. Now, the scoring. So you get 6 points for a win, 3 points for a draw, 1 point for every goal scored by the team that manager represents. Oh, by the team basically, not that I'll explain later. So 1 point for every goal by the team, 2 points for every clean sheet, and there's a bonus scenario where if an opponent is ranked 5 players higher, let's say, for example, this time let's say Manchester United, right? They're currently 13th in the Premier League. If you were to select a team in the top 4, for example, because they're definitely any team in the top 4 is 5 players higher at the moment. And in that situation, let's say Spurs. Are Spurs a good example right now? Probably not. Let's take a proper example from the Premier League table itself, shall we? So let's stay table. So Man United, right? 13th in the league. If you wanted to pick, for example, Brighton, let's say they play Brighton and they beat Brighton, which is possible, right? Won't say it won't be possible. If they beat Brighton, then they would get 10 points more for that win. If they draw against Brighton, you'll get only 5 points more. And the reason that happens is because the team that you've selected the manager from is currently 5 places below the opponent at the start of the game week. So you have to keep that in mind. At the start of the game week is when matters, because the table fluctuates during the game week. So that doesn't really matter. At the start of the game week is what matters in terms of the bonus points scenario. So this brings in a whole risk versus reward factor as well, because you could try and go for this bonus situation, but that means you'll have to pick teams from a slightly lower position in the table compared to, let's say, if you were to say pick Liverpool. The chances of you getting this bonus scenario for Liverpool is not going to be possible. Any team in the top 4, this probably won't apply. So you have to pick any team outside basically the top 5 teams in the league, so to be able to even get this bonus case scenario. So keep that in mind as well. So that's where the whole risk versus reward. The top 5 teams would be more safer picks, where you can just aim for the basic 6 points and get maybe 18 points at the end of the chip, along with maybe how many goals and clean sheets they keep. But if you try and risk it, there's a chance for higher points. There's also a chance that you don't get those points if they end up losing the games, right? So that's the whole risk versus reward system. Now, keeping that all in mind, which managers are getting the most points in FPL? So the FPL site, or people who run FPL, have done a good job for us to kind of go and show us, if this chip was available from the start of the season, this is what the situation would be like. Areola from Bournemouth if you were to play the chip where he had his best period against considering all the bonus factor situations, you would have got 47 points from this. Whereas, let's say, for example, Arne Slot, if you were to go the safer pick, the best case scenario from Arne Slot so far is you would have got about 31 points. So there's about a 16 point gap between that. So that is a bit, 16 points is quite a lot, I would say. Eddie Howe is second in 39 points. Gary O'Neill, 35 points. Ange Postecoglou from Spurs, 33 points. So you can see that most of the other teams, like there is a possibility to try and hit those 40-point marks. But if you don't hit it right, and let's say for example, Thomas Frank, go for Brentford, you think they'll be able to beat some of the teams. Away form is not great for Brentford. They play an away game and then it doesn't work out. 24 points basically. Now, obviously, this is just looking at just you picking one manager and just sticking to that one manager, right? You could do in a scenario where, let's say, you try for the bonus point case. You pick that manager, it works out, you get the extra 10 points and the 6 points for the win and anything on top of it in terms of goals or clean sheets. And then you could go and swap to maybe either a safer manager or a bit more of another riskier pick. If you think the first manager you picked, the fixture wasn't great, you could swap to another different manager. Obviously, it will cost a free transfer, but there is the possibility that you could try and get another 16 pointer if you wanted to, and another 16 pointer after that. So again, it's whole risk versus reward system. That's basically what this chip is about. On the top of my head, I don't mind it actually. I kind of like it, especially like for anyone who's chasing mini leagues and all. This is actually a pretty good system to try and maybe get some leads or like bring down the lead between you and your mini league rival potentially. This is also good for potentially those in, let's say, head-to-head leads, right? If you're in a head-to-head league and you go, ooh, the next 3 game weeks I'm playing some of the tougher opponents during this run. Maybe I play this chip, get you an edge over your head-to-head rival as well potentially. So there are situations where you could play this chip and it could actually benefit you. So obviously we kind of have to wait and see. The table is going to be fluctuating between now till game week 24 when this is available as well. So I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are about this chip. Do you like it? Kind of had to wait and see. We will do more videos in terms of what content, like in terms of like what weeks to play it. FPL have kind of given us a time period of when exactly some fixtures would be great. They've kind of highlighted, for example, Chelsea's game week 26 to 29 schedule, where they've got Aston Villa, Southampton, Leicester, and Arsenal. You could probably go for, let's say, 26 to 28 for Chelsea with Aston Villa, Southampton, and Leicester. Not a bad set of 3 fixtures for Chelsea. They could probably win all 3. To go, okay, I'll just take this, these 3 easy fixtures. Maybe you get 18 points. They score a couple goals as well. You get on top of that. You could look at maybe getting about 25 to 30 if things go your way. But that's basically what you probably you'll probably look at getting if you go for like a Chelsea. But anything outside the top 5 and you're trying to like keep that bonus case scenario, then you could probably aim for something higher as well. Like say, for example, now this is Brentford, game week 26 to 28. Again, this is just easy fixtures for them as well. Leicester, Everton, and Aston Villa. So you kind of need to consider, do you want to target that bonus case scenario or not as well? So let me know in the comments. It's a simple chip to understand, but has a lot of complex planning involved as well. And obviously, we'll see what the managers in terms of their cost, what it will come as well. Also, one thing to note: if a manager does get sacked, right, and he signs for another team, doesn't matter. You're basically picking the team more than you're picking the manager. They just call it the assistant manager, but you're basically picking and backing a team, basically. So you're not backing the manager per se. So whichever team you pick, you're backing that team. So if the manager swaps over and leaves the club or not, doesn't matter. You'll be still stuck to that team you picked. Keep that in mind. All right, that's basically it. If you've reached this point, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll be live for the deadline stream as well this Saturday, where we can discuss this on more, and we're closing in on 1000 subscribers as well. We're on 942 at the moment, so hit that like, hit the subscribe, and help us to get to 1000 subscribers, hopefully before the end of the year. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments and I'll answer each and every one of them. See ya.